YouTube, how's it going? So we've got a problem right now. So when I'm trying to do work on the jet ski, I have to pull it in every time. I use the golf cart, back it on up and everything, and I have to pull it out every single time because it doesn't fit in here with the trailer. So what I've come up with an idea is to make a dolly to get rid of all this useless tongue space. I think it'll fit to about right here, and I'll use a dolly and it'll just hold it right here in the middle, put 4 little casters on the bottom, and I should be able to leave it in the garage, or at least tilt it at an angle, and then we'll be able to leave it in the garage while we're pulling the motor out and cutting on the chassis, or cutting out pieces of that XP to get the bolts out of it and stuff like that. So I just went to Home Depot and picked up some wood. I got a few 2x4s and 4x4s, so I guess we'll go ahead and hop on the golf cart, go up to the fence, and load them all up and bring them out here, pull that little thing out, and then go from there. Alright, so we got all the wood loaded up, about to head to the garage and get to building. So the idea that I've got for it is taking the 4x4 post and putting one of those on each corner and putting the wheels underneath it, just so we can move it around if we need to. Don't know how good those are gonna do in the garage or in the yard if we need to pull it out there. And then just putting 4x4 posts or 2x4 posts on the sides, and then 2 in the front, and taking one of them and splitting it in half and putting it halfway on the top to make it a bunk, if you will. I am gonna take a towel and just put it over that, or get some carpet to protect the hull of the jet ski a little bit better. But I don't think the wood's going to be too terrible. It's fairly soft, so it shouldn't do too much to the hull. So we're going to go ahead and measure the 4x4 post down, start cutting on that, and getting somewhat of a frame, so to speak, to get it going. Okay, so since we need to measure the bunks, I'm going to go ahead and grab a tape measure real quick and head out to the jet ski. I'm thinking somewhere around like 4 foot or something like that. It shouldn't be too much, but I do want to make it strong enough to where it's not going to flex and bow like that in the middle. But I'm going to take a few measurements of the jet ski. I think somewhere about right here should be fine, which that's 4 foot, and I've got 5 2x4, about 8 foot. So if we do, that'll be 2 2x4s there for the left and right. And then let's see how far the bunks are. So the bunks are roughly 26, 27 apart. And so then that's how wide we'll make it. Basically just making a frame with the 2 bunks so that it'll pretty much hold up the jet ski. I know that it's not going to hold up the jet ski with the bunk sideways like that. The wood is going to be straight up and down, so it's not going to contour the bottom of the hole, so to speak. But for what we need it to do, we're not pulling it down the road or anything like that. Just literally keeping it in the garage for paint and swapping out the motor and everything like that. So it'll be just fine. But I'm gonna do a few more measurements on this, jot them down, and then get to cutting here in a second. Alright, so now we got all the wood cut up. We got the 4 2x4s for the end, 2 on each side, and then the 4 4x4s cut. And this is kind of what I'm predicting for it to look like. Is 2 like that, 2 more like that, and then 1 up top, 1 on the bottom, 1 up top, 1 on the bottom, and then same deal here, 1 up top, 1 on the bottom. And so it'll be something like that, and then obviously put the casters on the bottom side. So I don't think it'll be too bad. I'll start putting it together now, make sure everything's all square and whatnot, and then figure out what I want to do with the bunks. I do have that little bit that I have extra, and then I have all this that I can make the bunks out of. So got plenty of wood. Gonna go ahead and put this together, probably throw in another time lapse of putting that all together, and then go from there. So I was trying to figure out, do I want to do it where it's like this or like this, which this would take away what 3 or what is a board, inch or inch and a quarter, so it'd take like 2 inches away from the overall length. Which isn't going to hinder me too bad, and I think this honestly just gives a little bit better appearance instead of having both boards looking like that. So I think we're going to go ahead and do it like that, move all the other boards and just start drilling it in. I'm using just decking wood screws, and they should hold everything pretty good. Doing 2 screws per corner, and then going from there. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of the scrap wood and cut it down to 6 inches just so I can put it there as a spacer block for when I go to put the other mid pieces on. This is going to be the top, so I'll have 2 2x4 running there and there for the bunks, and then the lower pieces should sit right about here or so. And then obviously the wheels will be on the bottom. Wrong board. That one looks better. So now that we got that side done, we're just going to go ahead and rinse and repeat and go ahead and knock out the rest of this, and I'll get back then. So I went ahead and put on the second supports and went ahead and put on the wheels. I did have to go to Home Depot just to get some washers, which they're crush washers, because that was kind of the only thing that would fit the decking screws. They're not quite 1/4 of an inch on the head, so that was the best thing that I could find. So we're going to go ahead and flip it over, and then just figure out how we want to do the bunks. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just putting a piece of 2x4 about halfway in between there, and then sitting it down on top of that, and it should be fine. Just putting 2 screws on each side, making sure that it holds it on pretty good. But we'll go ahead and get those 2x4s cut down, and then go from there. So I went ahead and just pulled one 2x4 and just kind of laid it across just to see how tall it was going to be on the cart. And I think I should be able to just cut it down to the 48 inches and screw them in like that. It's a little thin on this side, but right here it's not too bad. And then over on the other side, it's about the same way. It's actually pretty decent on this side, but you got to figure the whole of the jet ski is sitting like this, so it's not even going to touch this outer edge. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, is cut those down to the 48 inches, and then bring the jet ski around and figure out a way to get it actually on top of it. So I went ahead and just pulled one 2x4 and just kind of laid it across just to see how tall it was going to be on the cart. And I think I should be able to just cut it down to the 48 inches and screw them in like that. It's a little thin on this side, but right here it's not too bad. And then over on the other side, it's about the same way. It's actually pretty decent on this side, but you got to figure the whole of the jet ski is sitting like this, so it's not even going to touch this outer edge. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, is cut those down to the 48 inches, and then bring the jet ski around and figure out a way to get it actually on top of this. That's going to be the hard part for today, but we'll go ahead and cut those down real quick and get them screwed on in there. So I'm thinking that should be fairly decent. I know that the come along is right there in the middle, but I have to get far enough forward for this door. Oh yeah, we're good. So that right there, the chain right there, is where the chain hoist comes down, and I put 2 straps right here in the middle. I went out and got some straps. Not sure if I'm going to use the ratchet straps or if my big strap might work. The only thing is that it is quite a bit off center, so when it picks it up it's going to want to bring it over automatically, and I don't want to scratch it up or anything like that. Okay, so I've taken about the last 15-20 minutes to figure out how I wanted to lay out all the straps and everything. So I've got one 20-foot strap, which I wish I had a smaller one. It's wound underneath and then come back through, and then both of those come up here, and then for the back section I've got it just going around the back underneath the jet ski as well. It is starting to already pull it a little bit to the left because it wants to pull it centered, but I don't really have a way of getting it over. I mean, I could pull it over a few more inches, but it's gonna just lift up and move itself over. But will it hold? I'm not sure. Pretty confident in it. It feels good. I know that the straps or nothing like that's going to break, but not too sure where the jet ski is going to want to go once it starts getting lifted up. But once it's up in the air, we'll pull out the golf cart, slide the cart underneath, and then sit it on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead. I think we're pretty much completely off except a little bit in the back. Okay, so yeah, we're completely off. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking. Alright, so we got the jet ski finally down. It's sitting nice and center on the two bunks. Gave it a little shake test. It wasn't nothing crazy. I did have one little hiccup somewhere. This bottom board cracked a little bit, not too bad. I think I didn't pre-drill that one, and that's how that happened. But after that, I pre-drilled everything else. But it's sitting on its own weight. Gave it a shakedown test. It doesn't even really squeak all that much or anything. So got it off the trailer. That's the big thing. I been planning this one out for a little while. It's a lot of sketchiness, but it worked out pretty good. Got Dad out here to help me center it and everything. The cart kept moving on me while I was trying to set the jet ski down, but surprisingly enough, it is almost dead height. My hip is right at the center line, so it'll be pretty easy to get in there and work on everything. This is the 717 that's in it right now that we're ripping out. Got a 951 sitting there, and this motor and exhaust and everything will be ripped out tomorrow, and then we'll start doing the measurements and everything to put the 951 in there. The only main difference between the 717 is that it has a 4-bolt. It uses four mounting points for the motor, and the 951s use a 3-mount. So we're gonna have to go in the XP, cut out the whole place where the front mount was, scuff up all this fiberglass, make a whole new thing, put that in there so that we'll have the nuts inside the fiberglass to be able to bolt the motor down to it. Build that bridge, if you will. Clean out all this, clean out the whole hole and everything, make sure everything's nice and clean. Drop the motor in and then wire it up, and shouldn't be too much longer after that. That will be on the water. The main thing I do have to worry about is making sure that the prop, or the rod that goes to the prop, to the jet pump, and the back of the motor meet up good, because you have to take your measurements on this, or if you're off, you'll end up wearing that out pretty prematurely. But it's all done. She's on there pretty good and solid, and now we'll be able to have the jet ski stay in the garage the whole time. We'll be able to paint it. Not too sure how I'm going to paint the undercarriage, but I guess we'll get there when we... So that's going to be a wrap on this project today. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up for me, please. It definitely keeps me motivated, but we'll go ahead and see you guys later. Peace.